Alright guys, so now we want to take care of our settings, our local settings setup. And if you were to Google, let's say Django local settings, is there a documentation page? Actually, I thought there was, but maybe not. If we look at this Stack Overflow file, basically, yeah, so we want to create this local settings.py on our server and have the correct production database stuff, as well as some of the other options as well. And the way that we do that is in our settings.py, we want to put this at the end. And this is basically just saying if this file exists, then bring it in, use it or include it, I should say. And it's not going to exist in our repository or anything. The only place it's going to exist is on our actual server. So that's when we want to use it. And I have that same block of code right here. So this actually needs to go in our settings and push to our repository and then pulled into our remote app. Okay. So what we're going to do is go into our project's settings file in VS Code and go down to the bottom here, and we're going to add that block of code. So we would just want to do try and then say from dot local underscore settings, that's what we're going to call the file. We want to import all. Okay, and then we just want to put an exception, so we want to say except on import error, then we just want to pass, meaning that if it doesn't find that file, it's fine, just do nothing. If it does, then we want to import it, and it's only going to work on the production server because that's the only place this will exist. We're not going to create it here. We're not going to push it to our repository or anything like that. So let's save this, and then we need to actually push this to Git. So we're going to say git add all, git commit, let's say added local settings import, and then git push. Okay, so now that we've done that, now let's on a Git repository, we want to go to our remote server and we want to pull that down. So make sure you're in your BTRE project, and let's do a git pull. All right. So let's check it out. I'll just do a cat and we'll go into, what is it, btre/settings.py, and there it is down at the bottom. Good. So now it's going to look for that local settings file, so we need to actually create it, and we're only creating it on our local server. We're not creating it here on our it's kind of weird because they call it local settings. That's kind of the convention, but it's actually production settings. And some people do actually call it production or prod settings instead. But I've noticed that the common convention is to use local settings, like it's your local production server, I guess. And it can be a little confusing. But when we say local settings, we mean the settings that are on the actual server. Okay, I know that's confusing. So let's go ahead and cd into BTRE, because if you look, that's where the settings.py file is. We need to create it alongside of that. So I'm going to say sudo nano, and let's do local underscore settings.py. Okay, and then this is where we want to put any special server stuff that we don't want in our local repository, or I should say our GitHub repository, anything that anyone can access outside of this server. So first thing, let's look at the docs here that I created. We want the secret key, the allowed hosts, database, debug, email. So I'm going to copy from our settings.py in VS Code. We're going to go to the top here and grab the secret key. Actually, let's grab all of this. Secret key, debug, and allowed hosts. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to our terminal and paste that in. and we want to do a few things. We want to change the secret key. Now this can be anything you want. I'm just gonna delete a chunk of this and then just put a bunch of stuff in here like that. And that should be fine. And then let's go down to debug. Let's set this to false, and we need an allowed host. The allowed host is going to be our DigitalOcean IP address, which is right here. We can just copy it. Yours will be different. And we're going to paste that in here. Okay, next thing we need is the database stuff. So let's grab that. So right here, copy that. Paste that in, and then we're going to change this to let's see, password. What did I do? I think I did ABC123 exclamation. User on the server is dbadmin, and the name of the database is btre_prod. Okay, make sure you have your settings match, and then email. Your email stuff shouldn't even be in this file, so I should have actually deleted this, but I'll just copy it. Yeah, so we'll copy this, delete it, and save, and then we're going to have to push and pull again. So, but I'll do that in a second. Let's finish this up. So now I'll paste that in here, and of course you'd put your password, but I'm not even going to do that here. And that should be it. So this file looks good. I'm going to Control X and hit Y to save. And there we go. Now if we do an ls, we have our local settings file. And just to take a quick look, that's what it looks like. Good. All right, so let's just quickly push this to GitHub. So I'm going to say git add all git commit git commit removed email from settings and push. All right, and then we'll go back here and we'll go cd ... into btre project and git pull. And if this was a production app, I would suggest using SSH keys for GitHub, so you don't have to keep doing that every time. But I'm not even going to bother. All right, so now that we have our local settings, okay, so we added all this to our local settings. In the next video, we're going to start to do all our Django stuff. Okay, so we want to create a super user. I want to try to run our local host or run our server. Now to do that, we're going to have to allow port 8000 in our firewall, because right now it'll be closed off. So we need to open that to allow 8000. All right, so we'll get to that in the next video.